Alright guys, so this is part 3, and today I'm going to be demonstrating using color with colored pencils, and we're going to be talking about continuing our shading effects with colored pencil and also continuing with our texture, because we can continue, and as you can probably see, I have added to the shading on this side of my face and also the texture through my hair with the color. So basically what you need to understand is a couple of things. You want to choose a few colors. This is called choosing a palette. Now when you think of the word palette in art, a palette is the actual thing that an artist holds, that little oval piece of wood with the colors on it. That's the physical palette. But really when we talk about palette in art, we're talking about the color choice. So you want to choose colors that are going to give you your skin tone, your hair color, your eye color, and later on you can worry about the background. That could be a completely different color. But then the next thing is that we need to realize that we're going to be working in layers. So what that means is, well, the way that we can mix color with color pencil is by putting one color on top of another. Color pencil, the actual ink of it is semi-transparent, which means that you can see through it a little bit. So you can actually still see coming through the color here, the white of the paper. That's what's making my colors look bright. Sorry, there's a horrible buzzing I had to fix. I'll cut that out. So, layering. So I'm going to start with my skin tone, and you'll see why I have this green in a few minutes, but I'm going to be working with yellow and orange and red, and I'm actually going to be using white. But white is going to be sort of a little bit unusual. It's not going to be necessarily just for coloring. You'll see what it's for. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to really quick color in the area. And you'll see right away that the color pencil will mix with the graphite. And it will mix more the more you press with it. So wherever you've laid down graphite, it mixes. Okay, let me speed this up a little bit. Okay, so that's basically going to be my base layer of color is this yellow. And I colored really lightly because I don't want to lay down too much color at first. I can always go back in and add more. So now I'm going to start working with this red. This red is actually more of like a red-orange. I do have a regular red over here. I'm afraid that it might be a little bit too dark. What I want is that peachy color that we normally think of when we think of light skin colors. We think of that peach crayon that you used to color your self-portraits with back in the day. Well, peach is a tint of orange. Orange is red and yellow. And then to make it into a tint, which is what peach is, we got to add white. Well, we've already got white, basically, because the paper is white, and we can see the white coming through. So then what we want to do with the red, and I'm going to turn a little bit here, is we want to start adding red to some of the darker areas, a lot of red. So this area up here on the top of my forehead, I may want to press really hard and get a lot of that colored pencil lead on there. But other areas down here, like on the cheek, I may want to barely press so that I'm just laying a very thin layer so that I still get that peach color that we're looking for. But it's not too dark and it's not too reddish or too orangey. I want to look like a pumpkin. But in areas also where there's a lot of shadow, I do want to add a lot of red because that's going to mix with the graphite and it's going to darken my color. Of course, you need to have a mirror in front of you while you're doing this to refer to. I can just use the camera that I'm looking at right here. I can see my face. I can see where those tones are that I'm going for. Camera basically works like a mirror for me as well, but you should have a mirror in front of you. And you want to try to pull those colors out that you see. And you'll notice that your skin isn't just one color. There's darker colors, there's lighter colors, there's colors that are more pinkish, there's color that is more whitish. And you want to try to mix those colors with the color pencils as close as you can. Of course, it's not going to be super accurate or realistic because we're using art supplies, but that's okay because that makes for an interesting artwork. It makes for an expressive artwork. Expressing with color. So it doesn't have to be like a photograph. If we want a photograph, I just take a picture with this iPad. But photographs do not show the same level of expression that a hand-drawn self-portrait, hand-colored self-portrait can show. Okay, so now I'm going to grab this green here. Remember I said that you were going to find out what this was for? So on this side, you can see these really deep, shadowy areas. What I've done is I've used the green, which is red's complementary color. Complementary colors are opposites on the color wheel. So if you look up above me, if I'm on this side of the room, you can see the color wheel. Whenever we mix complementary colors together, like red and green, we get a very dark shadow color. And it's actually a lot closer to shadows that we see in real life than trying to use a black would be. Because shadows still have color in them. Next time you're outside, look more carefully at the color of your shadow, or the color of your friend's shadow, or even of maybe some of the playground equipment. And you'll see there's blues in that shadow. There might be some greens in there. It depends on what you're looking for. But using complementary colors is a great way to bring out shadows. It's an expressive way because it's not just black. Black can be very boring. Look, of course, where the shadows are on your face. I've got a shadow right here. And the harder you press these colors together when you're layering, the more color you will actually be blending together. So keep that in mind too. And if somebody looks at your drawing and says, "Whoa, why is there green around your eye?" You can say, "Because I know how to use complementary colors." No, and it's more interesting. So you can say, "Black is so boring. Black is, everybody uses black." That's the boring thing to do. Okay, now I am going to be using a regular brown here for my eye because that is my actual eye color. And I am going to be using an actual black for the black areas because there are some areas that we just got to use black. Oh, I forgot to show you what the white does. I'm going to go back to that in just a moment. I wanted to add the detail to the eye. Now the two halves of my face are starting to look more alike. But they shouldn't look exactly alike. You may have been noticing as you've been looking in the mirror at your face that it's symmetrical, but it's not perfectly symmetrical. For instance, if you look carefully at your eyes, you may notice that one of your eyes opens slightly wider than the other. It seems like it's bigger. Get some brown up here. Continue with hair with the same sort of marks that you made with your pencil. So short lines for the eyebrows will do. And put a couple of different colors in there. You can get some brown, get some black. Same thing with the eyelashes. You can even put a little tiny bit of red in there for the tear duct. All right, now I want to show you what the white does. So you may have noticed that this side doesn't look as smooth as that side, and that's because I've used white over here to smooth my color out. So the way it works is you just take the white and you just kind of rub white over the areas you want to smooth out, and it smooths it out, and it also blends the colors together. So it makes it almost look more like a painting than just a drawing. You see that? Isn't that neat? Smooths it all out. Makes it look less like a crayon drawing too. It makes it look more like a professional artist's drawing, not just something that you've done in your coloring book. This isn't a coloring book. This is an artwork. Okay, so I'm going to add a lot of white to the tip of my nose because I want these areas to appear very light. So I didn't put very much color there, you may have noticed. And I'm blending with a lot of white, which is going to help lighten those areas up. I have to go down in here and get my nostril. Some areas you do want to put a good amount of black, you know? Down there. Okay, speaking of black, so now what I'm going to do, and I'm going to cut this very short. I'm just going to do the mustache here. I'm not going to go through the beard. I'll have to get back to this drawing later. But I just want to show you how you can enhance the texture of your hair that you've drawn with pencil. So just using the color, go through, and I like to rotate the pencil when I'm drawing because as you draw on one side, that side becomes flat, but it also creates an edge, a sharper edge on the other side. So if you rotate the pencil, you can kind of feel that edge there. Then you'll get more of lines as opposed to area that just looks like you're adding color. But you just want to go through and just add those lines of texture and color. All right, so experiment a little bit today with your color pencils. Experiment with layering, and before you lay any color down, test your colors. You can test them in your sketchbook or on the back of your paper. Make sure that the colors that you want in your palette are going to work out the way you want them to. If you don't test them, you may not know. So test them out, and then as soon as you've got your palette selected and you have your mirror and you're ready, meaning you've done all of your shading and texture, you've finished all of that, then go ahead and start working on layering and adding color with color pencil. All right, I'll see you next time. Bye-bye. You're still here? Well, I'll just have to speed things along then, won't I? It's over.